In today's digital landscape, security reigns supreme, and AWS Identity and Access Management, or IAM, emerges as your trusted guardian in the cloud. Imagine IAM as the gatekeeper to your AWS resources, meticulously controlling who gains access and what actions they can perform. At its core, IAM empowers you to manage users, groups, and roles, granting them specific permissions to interact with your AWS resources. It's about striking the perfect balance between providing access to those who need it and keeping your valuable data safe from unauthorized entry. By embracing IAM, you lay the foundation for compliance with industry regulations and best practices, ensuring that your cloud infrastructure remains resilient against potential threats. Get ready to unlock the full potential of IAM and elevate your cloud security posture to new heights. Let's unlock the treasure chest of AWS IAM and explore the key components that make it tick: users, groups, roles, and policies. Users represent individuals or applications requiring access to your AWS resources. Groups manage permissions for multiple users simultaneously. Roles are for AWS resources or services that need to perform actions on your behalf. Policies define the specific actions allowed or denied. This control empowers you to maintain a secure AWS environment. Creating your first IAM user is like welcoming a new member to your AWS family. Let's walk through it together. First, log in to your AWS Management Console and navigate to the IAM service. Click on Users in the left-hand navigation pane and then click on the Add Users button. Give your user a descriptive name that reflects their role or purpose. Choose the access type for this user: programmatic access for API or CLI interaction, or AWS Management Console access for direct console access. Create a password for the user or generate an access key ID and secret access key. After creating the user, you can assign them to groups or attach policies directly. Congratulations! You've successfully created your first IAM user. Remember to store the user's credentials securely and never share them with anyone. With your first IAM user in place, you're well on your way to establishing a secure and controlled AWS environment. We'll delve deeper into groups and policies in the upcoming sections. Imagine having to assign permissions to each employee individually in a large organization. That's where IAM groups come to the rescue, simplifying user management and boosting efficiency. Think of IAM groups as departments within your organization. Instead of granting access to individual employees, you can create groups like marketing, engineering, or sales and assign permissions at the group level. Any user added to a group automatically inherits the group's permissions. This ensures consistency in access control and reduces the risk of errors. For instance, you can create a group called Developers and grant them access to specific AWS resources like code repositories, development tools, and testing environments. IAM groups not only simplify user management, but also enhance security by ensuring that users have access to only the resources they need to perform their jobs effectively. By grouping users based on their roles and responsibilities, you create a clear and concise access control model, reducing the risk of unauthorized access or accidental data exposure. Section 5. Demystifying IAM roles. Secure access for applications and services. In the world of AWS, it's not just humans who need access to resources. Applications and services often need to interact with each other, and that's where IAM roles come into play. Think of IAM roles as special badges that grant temporary access to specific resources. Let's say you have an application running on an EC2 instance that needs to read data from an S3 bucket. Instead of embedding your AWS credentials directly into the application code, you can create an IAM role and assign it to the EC2 instance. This IAM role acts as a temporary set of credentials that the EC2 instance can assume when it needs to access the S3 bucket. The best part? These credentials are temporary and rotate automatically, enhancing security by minimizing the risk of long-lived credentials falling into the wrong hands. IAM roles are incredibly versatile and can be used in various scenarios, such as granting access to applications running on EC2 instances or AWS services that need to access resources in your account. By mastering the concept of IAM roles, you add another layer of security to your AWS environment, ensuring that applications and services have only the necessary permissions to perform their designated tasks. Section 6. Crafting effective IAM policies. Defining permissions with precision. IAM policies are the rulebooks of your AWS environment, defining who has access to what and what actions they can perform. These policies, written in JSON format, offer granular control over your AWS resources. Think of an IAM policy as a set of statements, each granting or denying access to specific actions or resources. For example, you can create a policy that allows a user to read objects from an S3 bucket, but prevents them from deleting or modifying any objects. Follow the principle of least privilege, granting only the minimum permissions necessary. Understanding how to write effective IAM policies is essential for maintaining a secure AWS environment. Implementing IAM best practices, a practical guide for enhanced security. Understanding IAM is crucial, but implementing best practices ensures a secure AWS environment. Here's a practical guide to navigate IAM security like a pro. Grant only the minimum permissions necessary. Encourage regular password changes and key rotations. Use MFA for an extra layer of security. Avoid embedding AWS credentials in code. Use IAM roles. Regularly review IAM activity logs for suspicious activity. Implementing these practices minimizes security risks. Section 8. Case Study. Leveraging IAM for secure application deployment. Let's bring IAM to life with a real-world scenario. Imagine you're a developer deploying a web application on AWS. Your application consists of an EC2 instance running a web server and an S3 bucket storing static content like images and CSS files. Without IAM, you'd have to embed your AWS credentials directly into your application code, a major security risk. But with IAM, you can follow a more secure approach. 1. Create an IAM role with permissions to access the S3 bucket. This role will act as a temporary set of credentials for your EC2 instance. 2. Launch your EC2 instance with this IAM role attached. The EC2 instance can now access the S3 bucket without requiring your AWS credentials. 3. Implement code in your application that uses the IAM role's temporary credentials to access the S3 bucket. This ensures that your application can retrieve static content securely. By using IAM roles, you've successfully deployed your application without exposing your AWS credentials, significantly reducing the risk of unauthorized access to your S3 bucket. Section 9. The Future of Access Control. Embracing advanced IAM capabilities. As AWS continues to evolve, so does IAM, constantly introducing new features and capabilities to enhance security and streamline access control. Let's explore some of the advanced IAM features that are shaping the future of access control. 1. This service allows you to centrally manage and govern multiple AWS accounts from a single organization. 2. ABAC takes IAM to the next level by allowing you to define access control policies based on attributes such as user location, device type, or time of day. 3. This powerful tool helps you identify and remediate access control issues by analyzing your IAM policies and resource configurations. By embracing these advanced IAM capabilities, you can further enhance your security posture, streamline access control, and ensure that your AWS environment remains secure and compliant as your organization grows and evolves. Stay ahead of the curve by leveraging these cutting-edge IAM features to protect your AWS resources. Section 10. Conclusion. IAM, the guardian of your AWS environment. In the dynamic realm of cloud computing, where security is paramount, AWS Identity and Access Management, IAM, stands as your steadfast guardian, safeguarding your valuable data and resources. By mastering the core components of IAM, users, groups, roles, and policies, you gain granular control over who can access your AWS environment and what actions they can perform. IAM is not merely a security measure. It's an integral aspect of building a well-architected and secure AWS environment. By embracing IAM best practices, you establish a robust security posture, mitigating risks, and ensuring that your cloud infrastructure remains resilient against potential threats. By embracing the power and flexibility of IAM, you empower your organization to harness the full potential of the cloud with confidence, knowing that your data and resources are protected by the most robust access control mechanisms available.